Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up because today we're diving deep into one of the most explosive moments in daytime television history, a clash that has Hollywood buzzing, social media exploding, and fans picking sides like it's the Super Bowl of celebrity drama. Picture this, it's a crisp October morning in New York City, the kind where the sun peeks through the skyscrapers just enough to make you believe in fresh starts, and millions of Americans are settling in for their daily dose of Good Morning America, that staple of morning routines where coffee meets celebrity chit-chat. Samuel L. Jackson, the undisputed king of cool, the man whose voice alone can command a room or a battlefield in any Marvel flick, is there to promote his latest adrenaline-fueled blockbuster, a high-octane thriller that's already got critics raving and box offices quaking. At 76 years young, Jackson's career is a testament to resilience and raw talent, from his breakout in Pulp Fiction where he quoted Ezekiel with fire in his eyes, to voicing every animated hero under the sun. And let's not forget his iconic role as Nick Fury, assembling the Avengers like a boss. He's not just an actor, he's a cultural force, a black icon who shattered glass ceilings without breaking a sweat, advocating for everything from civil rights to golf equality. Yes, the man loves his birdie game. But on this fateful day, October 5, 2025, what starts as a light-hearted segment spirals into chaos faster than a plot twist in one of his films. The host, none other than Michael Strahan, the former NFL star turned charming TV personality, known for his megawatt smile and easy banter on GMA, where he's been dishing out laughs and lifestyle tips since jumping from sports broadcasting. Strahan, with his Super Bowl ring and infectious energy, has built a reputation as the approachable guy next door, interviewing A-listers with a mix of football grit and morning show polish. Yet, beneath that polished exterior, whispers in the industry suggest a competitive edge, a drive to land those viral moments that boost ratings. As the cameras roll, the studio audience buzzes with anticipation, producers in the control room high-fiving over the star power, and co-hosts Robin Roberts and George Stephanopoulos exchanging knowing glances, ready to steer the ship. Jackson strolls onto the set in a sharp tailored suit, his signature Kangol cap tilted just so, exuding that effortless swagger that's made him a red carpet staple. The applause is thunderous, fans chanting Samuel like it's a rally, and for a moment, everything feels electric, promising the kind of interview that leaves viewers inspired. But as Strahan leans in with his opening line, "Samuel, welcome back," is still making badasses look good, there's a flicker in Jackson's eyes, a subtle shift from amusement to assessment, as if he's already sensing the undercurrent. Little do they know, this isn't just a promo spot, it's the prelude to a showdown that will redefine respect in live TV. Viewers at home, sipping their lattes, have no clue they're about to witness a masterclass in standing your ground, where one man's poise collides with another's provocation, igniting a firestorm that burns through the airwaves and into the heart of celebrity culture. And it all begins innocently enough, with talk of the new film, until it doesn't. The tension simmers like a pot on low boil, building layer by layer, question by question, until the lid blows off in spectacular fashion. Samuel L. Jackson isn't here to play games, he's here to promote art that's meaningful, stories that challenge norms. And in that moment, he becomes the voice for every guest who's ever felt cornered by a microphone. Michael Strahan, on the flip side, embodies the pressure of morning TV, where every segment must pop, every soundbite must stick, and ratings are the god everyone prays to. As the clock ticks, the world holds its breath, because when titans clash, no one walks away unscathed. This is the story of dignity defended, of lines crossed and consequences faced. A narrative that's as timeless as it is timely in our era of unfiltered outrage. So, let's rewind the tape, break it down frame by frame, because what happened next wasn't just a walk-off, it was a wake-up call for an entire industry. As the segment kicks off, the energy in the Times Square studios is palpable, lights gleaming off polished floors, the audience a sea of eager faces clutching their free swag bags. And Samuel L. Jackson settles into that iconic couch with the grace of a panther eyeing its territory. Robin Roberts, ever the warm anchor with her survivor spirit shining through, starts with the fluff. "Samuel, your new film, Shadow Strike, looks like another career-defining role. Leah, tell us, what's it like stepping into the shoes of a rogue agent fighting corporate overlords? Jackson leans forward, his voice that gravelly timbre we've all come to love, rich with stories from the Seda-grueling night shoots in Atlanta, improvising lines that had the director in stitches, and how this character mirrors his own lifelong battle against typecasting in Hollywood. Laughter ripples through the crowd as he recounts a blooper where co-stars Zendaya accidentally sets off a prop explosion, turning a tense scene into a foam party, and suddenly, the vibe is golden, Strahan nodding along with that trademark grin, tossing in a football analogy about teamwork on set. But then, like a blindside tackle, Strahan pivots, his eyes narrowing just a touch under the studio lights. Samuel, you've built this empire on tough guys and no-nonsense attitudes, but let's get real. After decades in the game, do you ever worry that Hollywood's just using you for that angry black man trope? The question lands like a gut punch, not because it's invalid. Jackson's addressed it before in speeches and interviews, but the delivery, laced with a smirk that feels more accusatory than curious, shifts the air. Jackson pauses, that famous poker face holding steady, but you can see the wheels turning, the decades of microaggressions flashing in his mind, the roles offered only if he dials down the intensity, the critics praising his raw edge while ignoring the nuance. Michael, he responds evenly, I've turned down more stereotypes than I've accepted, because I know my worth ain't defined by someone else's script. Applause erupts, but Strahan doubles down, leaning in closer, microphone in hand like a weapon. Come on, man. In Pulp Fiction, you were the embodiment of righteous fury. Ezekiel 25 hours 17 minutes, quoting scripture like a sermon on steroids. But off-screen, with all the civil rights work, the NAACP awards, is there a part of you that's still that angry kid from Chattanooga, fighting shadows? The studio quiets, Roberts glancing sideways with a subtle furrow, Stephanopoulos shifting in his seat. Jackson's response is measured, a masterclass in restraint. Anger? Nah, that's fuel, brother. It's what got me from segregated schools to the Cannes Film Festival. But don't mistake clarity for raggy. I've earned my seat at this table. Yet Strahan, perhaps chasing that viral clip, presses on, his tone edging toward condescension. Earned it, or just played the part so well they couldn't say no? Viewers love the intensity, but is it authentic, or just good acting? That's the spark at the implication that Jackson's authenticity is performative, a cheap shot that ignores his Oscar nods, his Kennedy Center honor, his unyielding advocacy for diversity. Quotas that open doors for the next generation. Whispers ripple through the audience, phones already out recording, as Jackson's jaw sets, his eyes locking onto Strahan's with the intensity of a scene from Shaft. Roberts tries to interject with a pivot to the film's soundtrack, but Strahan waves it off. No, let's keep it real. This is the conversation America needs. Real? It's a trap, a gotcha moment dressed as journalism, and in that instant, the power dynamic flips. Jackson, who's faced down directors twice his size and politicians with bigger egos, isn't about to let a former linebacker rewrite his legacy on live TV. The commercial break looms, but the damage is done. The simmer has become a boil, and what follows is the eruption we've all come to dissect. This isn't just about one question, it's the culmination of an industry that demands vulnerability from its black stars while excusing entitlement from its white hosts, a microcosm of broader conversations around race, respect, and the relentless grind of public life. As the seconds tick, Jackson's silence speaks volumes, a prelude to the storm. The heat in the studio ratchets up faster than a summer scorcher in Death Valley, with Strahan's follow-up question hanging in the air like smoke from a misfired prop grenade, and Samuel L. Jackson, ever the strategist, chooses his words like chess moves in an endgame nobody saw coming. Authentic? Jackson echoes, his voice dropping an octave, that signature drawl turning sharp as a switchblade. I've been authentic since before you laced up your first cleat, Michael. While you were sacking quarterbacks for glory, I was marching for rights that let folks like us sit here today without scripts or spotlights telling us how to feel. The audience gasps, a collective intake that echoes off the rafters, because this isn't banter, it's a boundary being drawn in indelible ink. Strahan, unfazed or perhaps fueled by the adrenaline of live TV, where every pause is dead air and every zinger a win, fires back. Touch a tilde copyright, but let's not rewrite Historia your roles. From Jules Winfield to Mace Windu, they're all about that controlled chaos. Is Shadow Strike just more of the same? Or are you finally showing the world the Samuel L. Jackson who golfs with presidents and mentors kids in Compton? It's a layered jab, complimentary on the surface but probing underneath, questioning if Jackson's off-screen life via his marriage to LaTanya for over 40 years, his sobriety journey shared draw in memoirs, his foundation supporting underprivileged youth measures up to the myth. Jackson chuckles, but it's devoid of warmth, a sound like gravel under tires. More of the same? That's what they said about Denzel in Training Day, and look where the Oscar took him. My chaos is controlled because I've lived uncontrolled addiction, loss, the 70s radical days that could have landed me in cuffs. But I chose craft over catastrophe, and that's the real story. Roberts nods vigorously, trying to reel it back with, absolutely, Samuel, and your memoir Lucky Man was such an inspiration. But Strahan, sensing blood in the water, leans forward again, his broad shoulders casting a shadow. Inspiration? Or excuse? Because let's talk that golf addiction capital of the world, you called it once. Is that why the film's hero quits cold turkey? Or is it Hollywood's way of sanitizing your edge for the masses? The room freezes, even the crew behind the cameras exchange uneasy glances, knowing they've crossed from interview to inquisition. Jackson's face, lined with the wisdom of 200-plus films, hardens, his eyes of those piercing, unflinching orbs that stare down Thanos boring into Strahan. Sanitizing? Boy, if you think my life's a punchline for your ratings grab, you've missed every lesson I ever learned on set. Respect ain't optional, it's the entry fee. The word boy lands like a thunderclap, evoking echoes of civil rights confrontations, a term weaponized in history but reclaimed here as a call-out. And Strahan's smile falters for the first time, his athletic poise cracking under the weight. Whoa, easy theory, I'm just asking the questions fans want, he retorts, but his voice wavers, the charm slipping into defensiveness. Stephanopoulos clears his throat. Michael, perhaps we can, but Jackson cuts in, rising slightly from his seat, microphone still clipped but his posture screaming exit strategy. Fans? Or you? Chasing that gotcha to boost your book sales? I've seen interviews like this before, Fox News specials disguised as friendly chats, but this ain't journalism, it's ambush hour. The audience is split now, some murmuring support for Jackson's fire, others shifting uncomfortably at their rawness, phones capturing every angle for the inevitable TikTok frenzy. Strahan, recovering with a forced laugh. Ambush. Come on, Samuel, it's morning, we keep it lively. But lively has turned lethal, the line between host and antagonist blurred beyond repair. In this pressure cooker of pixels and applause, Jackson embodies the elder statesman, calling foul on a game rigged from jump, while Strahan fights to salvage face, his NFL-honed competitiveness blinding him to the foul he's committed. The producer's voices crackle faintly in earpieces, urging a break, but momentum has a mind of its own, hurtling toward the point of no return where words become weapons, and one man's stand becomes legend. This exchange isn't isolated, it's the symptom of a media landscape hungry for conflict, where black excellence is probed but rarely celebrated without caveat. As the verbal volleys peak, the stage is set for the mic drop, literally. Boom of the tension crests like a wave crashing over the seawall, and Samuel L. Jackson, with the precision of a director yelling cut, unclips his microphone, the soft snick echoing louder than any explosion in his latest flick, signaling the end of this farce before it devours them both. Real talk time, he declares, standing tall at 6'2", his presence filling the frame even as he prepares to vacate it. I've sat for interviews from Letterman to Leno, answered the hard ones with heart, but this feels like you're more interested in my scars than my stories. Strahan, arms crossed now in a defensive stance straight out of his Giants playbook, shoots back with a scoff that reverberates through the monitors. Scars? Man, celebrities cry foul every time we dig deeper. A welcome to the big leagues, where not everything's a puff piece. The condescension drips like honeyed venom, reducing Jackson's storied career to a tantrum. And that's the breaking point. The moment where respect evaporates and raw truth takes the wheel. Jackson turns to the co-hosts, his tone softening like a nod to allies in enemy territory. Robin, Georgia, all class acts, as always, keep shining light, not shade. Roberts, her eyes wide with a mix of shock and solidarity, stammers, Samuel, we appreciate you. While Stephanopoulos, the political pro, adds a diplomatic, always a pleasure break a leg on the press tour. But Strahan, not one to let the last word slip, calls out as Jackson strides toward the exit. Running away? That's not the Samuel L. Jackson we love on screen. I thought you were unbreakable. It's the final straw, a taunt that twists the knife, implying fragility where there's only fortitude, and Jackson pauses at the edge of the set, back turned but voice booming clear as a sermon. Unbreakable? I am, brother, but I don't break bread with folks who mistake my journey for their entertainment. Peace. With that, he exits stage left, the door swinging shut with a finality that sucks the oxygen from the room, leaving Strahan staring at empty space, his grin ossified into something awkward and alone. Chaos ensues in the heartbeat that follows a producer's barking orders through headsets, cameras cutting hastily to a pre-taped weather segment, the audience frozen in a hush broken only by scattered applause for Jackson's grace under fire. Roberts, ever the pro, fills the void when they return. Well, folks, that was intense. Samuel L. Jackson, reminding us all of the power of authenticity. Strahan, benched for the rest of the hour per frantic network memos, slinks to the green room, his silence a stark contrast to his usual post-show schmoozing. Backstage, Jackson's team swarms him with water bottles and reassurances, but he waves them off, already on his phone, tweeting a single emoji, a raised fista that garners 1 million likes in minutes. The control room is pandemonium, executives dialing damage control while clips leak faster than a sieve, turning GMA's feed into a meme factory. Viewers flood comment sections. Strahan crossed the line as Sam's a legend. Versus the defensive few. Tough questions build character, but the tide turned swiftly toward Jackson, his walk-off hailed as a teachable moment on boundaries, a viral video racking up views that dwarfed the show's average demo. In the aftermath's immediate haze, networks scrambly. ABC issues a statement praising Jackson's candor while regretting any discomfort, a diplomatic dodge that fools no one. Strahan, holed up with his agent, fields calls from publicists plotting his redemption arc. Perhaps a teary apology on his podcast or a charity pivot tying back to his football foundations. Yet, the real fallout simmers in the industry's underbelly, where whispers of Strahan's overreach circulate among bookers, potentially chilling his solo slots. Jackson, meanwhile, heads straight to his next stop, a Sirius XM spot where he unpacks it all with unflinching honesty, turning lemons into a legacy lemonade stand. This walk-off isn't defeat, it's declaration. A line in the sand for how we treat icons who've earned their scars, reminding us that even in the glare of fame, humanity demands dignity. As the day unfolds, the story metastasizes, but in that frozen studio frame, it's pure poetry, a Jackson's silhouette against the lights, striding into history unbroken. Within the digital ether, the explosion hits like a meteor strike. Hashtags erupting faster than popcorn in a microwave. Samuel stands tall. Strahan overstep. Walkout trending worldwide before lunch, with clips dissected on every platform from Twitter threads to TikTok duets, turning a morning mishap into a cultural referendum on respect and race in media. Fans, that loyal legion who've quoted "Say What Again" at parties for decades, rally en masse, flooding Jackson's mentions with heart emojis and personal stories of his impact, from the kid in Detroit who found courage in jungle fever to the elder in LA crediting his anti-drug PSAs for sobriety. Celebrities chime in like a who's who of woke. Denzel Washington posts a cryptic "real recognizes real." Jamie Foxx drops a video reenacting the exit with jazz hands, and even Oprah, from her mountaintop, tweets, "Boundaries are beautiful. Bravo, Samuel." The discourse deepens online, threads unraveling Strahan's Historia, his affable interviews with Beyonce copyright contrasted against edgier ones with Kanye, suggesting a pattern of pushing black guests harder, a subtle bias unpacked by influencers like a Black Media Watch, whose 500K follower breakdown goes mega viral. Mainstream outlets pile on. CNN runs a panel with Angela Rye calling it the modern-day Donahue debacle, while TMZ, ever the carrion crow, leaks alleged texts from Strahan apologizing profusely. "My bad, some heat of the moment." Jackson, masterful as ever, responds not with vitriol but volume, granting a New York Times op-ed slot where he pens a 1,500-word treatise on the interview as interrogation, "Why We Owe Artists Better," weaving in anecdotes from his Spike Lee days to his MCU marathons, arguing that probing pain without permission perpetuates the very tropes we claim to dismantle. The piece, illustrated with a still from the walk-off, sells out the digital edition, sparking syllabus additions in journalism classes from Columbia to Howard. Strahan's camp counters with a Good Morning America exclusive via him solo, eyes misty, admitting, "I got carried away chasing the story." But Samuel's right, respect first, a mea culpa that softens some edges but draws side eyes from skeptics who see it as scripted spin. Ratings for GMA spike 40% the next day, a Pyrrhic victory as advertisers whisper pullouts over toxic vibes, forcing ABC to fast-track diversity training memos that land with a thud in inboxes. Broader ripples hit the talk show circuit. Fallon books Jackson for a makeup spot, promising all laughs, no lashes, while Colbert pens a monologue skewering the morning show minefield. Social justice orgs like Color of Change issue statements, praising Jackson's poise as a model for youth, and his foundation sees donations double, funding more scholarships for aspiring filmmakers of color. Memes multiply. Jackson's fist emoji morphed into Avengers Assemble graphics. Strahan photoshopped as a referee calling foul at turning tragedy into tapestry, a collective catharsis. Yet, beneath the buzz, quieter conversations emerge. Therapists on podcasts linking it to celebrity burnout, sociologists charting how such clashes expose fault lines in post-#MeToo media. Jackson himself, in a late-night call-in to The Breakfast Club, laughs it off. DJ Envy, "It was like rehearsing a Tarantino scene, a dialogue sharp, exit sharper." His candor disarms, reframing the feud as fable, a cautionary tale for hosts everywhere. Strahan, rebounding on his eponymous show, pivots to vulnerability, interviewing his daughters on fatherhood fails, a heartfelt pivot that rebuilds bridges but can't erase the scar. As weeks blur into weeks, the incident fades from headlines but embeds in lore, cited in green rooms and grad seminars alike, a pivot point where one man's stand elevated the dialogue on dignity. In this echo chamber of endorsement and excoriation, Jackson emerges not just unscathed but amplified, his star burning brighter against the backlash blaze, proving once more that truth, told tall, topples thrones. The online odyssey isn't over, it's evolving, a living script where viewers co-write the ending, demanding better from the boxes that beam our mornings.